Tonight, we are going to witness the most anticipated match in the history of Clash Royale. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Pro v Pro. Spoiler alert, guys, this hasn't even happened yet, but I can tell you that Surgical is going to win and Surgical is going to lose. Dude, I'm the worst. Guys, I hope this video finds you all doing well. First off, let's be real. Are you sick of that intro? I understand that I've used it for the last like 5 Pro v Pros, but I kind of like having the intro, like a TV series has the same intro per season. Maybe I should switch it up every season, meaning every Pro, or maybe I should just change it every episode. You guys can let me know if it annoys you, if you're getting sick of it, or if you like it in the comments below. But more importantly, let me know who you're rooting for. It is Surgical versus Surgical. Surgical Goblin versus SurgicalTS. Who are you guys rooting for? Who do you think will win? Pause the video, let me know. We're already into match number 1 right now, and as you guys can tell, I'm pretty excited for this one. For a long time now, a lot of people have been saying that SurgicalTS is low-key the better Surgical of the pair. And of course, Surgical Goblin has no shortage of fans too. Well, it's a best of 5 right now. You can see it's a Goblin, probably the Graveyard deck, the Big Spin Graveyard deck being played by Surgical Goblin right now, versus 3 Musketeers Giant played by SurgicalTS. So it should be a very interesting matchup. I wouldn't necessarily say that either of them have the edge in this matchup at all, even though traditionally 3 Musketeers does do well against Graveyard, but of course, Surgical Goblin does have Poison, and this iteration of Graveyard is super strong, and you can see those girls actually connecting for a little bit of damage there on the right tower for Surgical Goblin. So again, guys, it's best of 5. There are no special rules here. It's just first player to reach 3 wins and becomes the new pro to beat. So here it comes, a minion horde answering this Graveyard. That's going to be trouble for SurgicalTS because, as you can see, Poison's going to evaporate that minion horde. Now he decides to pump up. Good decision there with about a $110 left in this first match here, guys. But of course, the advantage early on goes to Surgical Goblin. Now, Surgical Goblin, obviously, as I said earlier, one of the most decorated, if not the most decorated players in the game. Arguably, Sergio Ramos might be up there. He's won the most after all. But either way, Surgical Goblin, no one's going to be denying that he is certainly the biggest name in the pro scene in Clash Royale. So Surgical Goblin actually, though, for his big name and all his accolades, has not performed too well so far in Pro v Pro. He lost to Marcel P. He lost to Pompeo. I'm not sure if he's ever won. He might have way back in the day, but you know, I'm old, guys. I'm old. My memory's not that good. So let's see if he can win and become the new pro to beat. It will be very interesting. Of course, Surgical Goblin from the Netherlands and SurgicalTS from Brazil. So it looks like that Battle Ram is going to connect on the right side, but he's in trouble on the left. Look at all these rascals doing a ton of damage to that left tower. However, he is doing a good job of splitting the damage, SurgicalTS, meaning that obviously recognizing Surgical Goblin only has Poison, separating that damage. If he can get one big monster 3 Musketeer push in, like he's trying to do right here in the right lane, maybe he can come away with the victory, but it's not looking good, ladies and gentlemen. That Tombstone's going to do just a great job stymieing that giant push. Rascals played same lane. Look at the patience here of Surgical Goblin, guys. He is not rushing this at all, even though both towers are very low. He's defending first. Now he's going to go ahead and log and Poison up, taking care of all those minions in the minion horde. Then he's going to block those barbarians using the Ice Golem in the left lane. Now here comes another giant for SurgicalTS. You can tell maybe a little bit of desperation here creeping in. The giant at the bridge followed up with the Goblin Gang. Surgical Goblin's going to have no issues dealing with that. Here it comes. It's a bats and Battle Ram in the left lane here, ladies and gentlemen. The Battle Ram does connect on that left tower. However, again, splitting the damage here. Meanwhile, here comes a big Graveyard out of Surgical Goblin. The Barbarian only gets the tower down to 544. Graveyard's coming down. This is going to be GG, guys. I think only one Poison. There it is. That's going to be first match going to Surgical Goblin, or SG instead of ST. Okay, we'll just stick with the Surgical Goblin. But 5, okay, well, I stand corrected. I called this one early. Sorry, guys. There's the log. That's going to finish it off. I'm like, where's the match? Is it going to end, guys? Is it going to end? Today, I've decided to just go ahead and play things through and just chat with you guys in between. Hopefully, these pros don't take a super long time in picking out their next decks. It will be interesting to see which decks these guys go with because, let's be honest, both Surgical Goblin and SurgicalTS known for having a lot of flexibility in their deck decision, in their deck making. They can basically pick up and play any deck, whether it's beatdown, whether it's cycle, whether it's bait. I will mention though, both of these players are notably very, very good, like tier 1 next level skill when it comes to bait decks. So look for some bait matchups. Let's see if either of these players bring a bait deck to the table here. SurgicalTS is ready and Surgical Goblin's ready. Let's go ahead and hop into the match, guys, and see what decks they choose for game number 2. Surgical Goblin up 1-0 so far on SurgicalTS. Surgical Goblin again on the top, SurgicalTS on the bottom here. So Surgical Goblin starts out with a Tombstone again. Makes me wonder if he's playing the same exact deck that he just ran with. Of course, if you win the first match, no reason not to go with the deck. That deck is incredibly strong right now in the meta, but we'll see here. We'll see. It doesn't look like it might not be that deck, but I don't know what other decks run Tombstone in Minor. You know what? Maybe the Balloon Cycle deck that we saw popularized by Pompeo on Ladder? I don't know. Oh, there's the Balloon, so I guess it is. And it looks like SurgicalTS is playing some sort of a Hunter, maybe a giant Hunter deck. We'll have to see the rest of the cards. However, there comes the Fireball. That Dark Prince is going to get a lot of damage on that right tower for SurgicalTS. Meanwhile, that Balloon is probably going to take this left tower, or at least get a couple of shots in. Didn't see that Mega Minion there. So it looks like the towers are pretty much even. So not tower trading, but damage trading into critical amounts of HP off both of the towers for both of the pros here, guys. And you can see that Mega Minion does connect there for SurgicalTS, getting a head start on that second tower. That actually might come in handy, considering both pros are looking early on this match to take the other towers. So a nice predictive guards there, blocking that miner there, preventing further chip damage. A zap from Surgical Goblin, going to weaken those guards, but not remove the shield off those guards. So here comes an Inferno Dragon that's going to do a good job cleaning things up, but there's the zap, a nice timed zap there by SurgicalTS, going to allow this giant actually to get a few swings in on that left tower. 3 swings on the left tower, taking it down to 935, despite the Inferno Dragon kind of clogging up that lane there for Surgical Goblin. So it looks like this match, the edge early on here, guys, is going to be for SurgicalTS, a very big edge at that. Just misses the Dark Prince charge on that left tower. Here comes another miner for Surgical Goblin. Go ahead and zap there, but it looks like the miner is going to take that tower down to Fireball range easily, so Surgical Goblin has to start focusing on the opposite tower now. Meanwhile, we're getting more chip damage with the miner from SurgicalTS on that left tower, taking it down to 600. 600 into the 500 damages and 400 damages? 487 HP left on that left tower. Here comes the Inferno Dragon. As soon as SurgicalTS sees that Inferno Dragon, he's just going to go ahead and ignore that left tower. A miner Inferno Dragon, he's going to play the giant in the opposite lane because Inferno Dragon is out of cycle. And you can see Surgical Goblin quickly putting the units down, put that Mega Minion down, put the Tombstone down, making sure he can cycle to another Inferno Dragon as soon as possible, and he does indeed do that. But the giant, is he going to get to the tower? He is going to get one swing on the tower. Miner's going to help out. Looks like that right tower is going to go down here for SurgicalTS, and there it goes, guys. This is going to be it's going to take a Herculean effort from Surgical Goblin to make this comeback. Here comes a Balloon and a Mega Minion for Surgical Goblin. This is a do or die push here for Surgical Goblin. At least it kind of feels that way. He will get one hit from that Balloon, but it's not going to be enough. Just a giant Mega Minion. There it is. Giant Mega Minion in the pocket here for SurgicalTS is going to get to that tower, no doubt about it. Going to kill that Inferno Dragon and reset with the zap, and that's going to be GG, guys. Just a matter of time here. The miner is on the tower. There comes the poison. It's going to be match 2 to SurgicalTS. I love it when it's 1-1 to start out these videos. Just makes it way better for the rest of the video, right? So SurgicalTS gets on the board here with a 1-1 tie. Very interesting. I'm just going to put 1-1, even though these guys obviously know the score in the chat. But look at all those spectators, guys. 117 views. These guys are super popular, obviously, and SurgicalTS looks like he's ready again, and so is Surgical Goblin. Let's go ahead and hop into this one and see who comes out in match number 3. This is going to be a critical match to set the pace, because the winner of this match if they win the next match, they win. So it's going to be a really key match in this Pro v Pro. Match 3 is always crucial, especially obviously when it's 1-1 to start out with. Even if it's 2-0, it's crucial, right? So here we go. It's a Mega Minion behind the King Tower for SurgicalTS. He's going to be responded to by Surgical Goblin with a Princess. It looks like Surgical Goblin is indeed probably running bait. I don't think Surgical Goblin's going to run like a Hog Princess. And we see that Prince. We know it's a bait deck. It's going to be the Prince Rascals Princess bait deck. I actually shared this deck in yesterday's video. Little shout out. I'll include that in the description below if you guys are interested in the top 5 ladder decks for the new meta in 2018. This being one of the decks, the deck that Surgical Goblin is playing here, the Bait Rascals Prince deck. It's really, really solid. There's another version of this deck out there with Dark Prince instead of Prince that is actually performing better in challenges. So this would be the ladder iteration, and of course you have a variation also for challenges with the Dark Prince. And you can see all that damage. Look at that sneaky damage, getting almost half the HP off that right tower by Surgical Goblin. Meanwhile, here's a big response here from SurgicalTS. Oh, that Prince was placed just at the right second there. The Prince is going to be able to counter that Dark Prince. That was a key placement on that Prince and timing there by Surgical Goblin. If that Dark Prince had hit the tower, we'd be singing another tune. However, look at this. Boy does get to the tower. Boy, thick boy, gets to the tower for Surgical Goblin. Gonna take that tower down to 1120 HP. Here comes the counter push, gonna be kited to the opposite lane. Probably the most OP card in the game is Ice Golem, and that's the reason why. Just a beautiful option defensively for kiting. However, look at that Dark Prince charge, how much damage he did there. All of a sudden, SurgicalTS is back in this match, despite the Goblin barrel connecting for a little bit of damage there in the right lane for Surgical Goblin. Here it comes, another Prince push. Prince is so difficult to deal with, but Bandit actually does a pretty good job against him. As you can see, Bandit dies herself, but the Bandit is invincible while to the Prince charge while she's in her dash. So she makes contact with that Prince when she's at full health, which comes in handy in situations like that. So we're really, really close here. I wonder, I forgot, of course I shared the deck yesterday, I forgot if it has a big spell in it. I want to say no, but I don't remember. On Surgical Goblin's deck, that is. Either way, I'll share that in the description below if we don't see the last 2 cards. Anyway, here we go. It's a Goblin barrel coming in with a charging Prince for Surgical Goblin. However, the Bandit does connect on the left tower for SurgicalTS. Oh my god, the action here, guys, is non-stop. Both players are attacking, playing offense and defense at the same time. There's a lot to pay attention to. I might need to call in backup on the next Pro v Pro and get a co-commentator up in here, but we're going to try our best. And it looks like this is going to be absolutely overrun here by Surgical Goblin. He does pick up the second victory there. Look at all those troops, guys. There's like 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 girl rascals there, along with the Prince and the Princess and all those goblins for Surgical Goblin. So Surgical Goblin now is up 2-1. That means if he wins this next match, ladies and gentlemen, we have a new pro to beat, Surgical Goblin. Of course, SurgicalTS is going to try his hardest not to let that happen. He ended the reign. In case you missed it, I should have said this in the beginning of the video, but SurgicalTS ended the reign of Pompeo. Pompeo went through 8 pros. An unprecedented 8 pros. The second longest win streak, anybody know it in CWA Pro v Pro? Anybody? Second longest win streak was Diego B, beating 5 pros in a row. He lost on his 6th match. If Surgical Goblin wins this match, which is a big if, it's not over yet, but if Surgical Goblin can walk away with a victory, do you think he has a shot at contending with or beating either Diego B or Pompeo's record? I don't know. Let me know. Let me know if you think he can do it. If he wins, let's not call it before it's over here, guys. Looks like SurgicalTS this time is playing the bait, starting out with that Goblin barrel. Surgical Goblin responds with a log and a Dark Prince here. Interesting to see what deck Surgical Goblin pulls out here when it's kind of do or die, or not do or die, it's just do to win for him. It's do or die here for SurgicalTS. So it looks like it's going to be a beatdown deck because we don't see Baby Dragon really in any deck in the meta, any meta deck at least, right? Except for Gold golem beatdown, and he plays guards as well. So we'll have to see here. We haven't seen a pump or a golem, so it's too early to call. Either way, here comes a barbarian, a goblin barrel there for SurgicalTS, and he connects because of that frozen tower via that ice spirit. So SurgicalTS on the board first here, taking that right tower down to 1635 HP. Here comes a princess responding to that mega minion, and of course Surgical Goblin's gonna have to respond to that princess here before she chips away even further on that right tower. So a good preemptive rascal play there, protecting that princess. Really nice play there by SurgicalTS. However, that NATO is able to absolutely kill all of the ranged DPS cards behind that boy rascal. He doesn't even get to the tower, so that could have been much, much worse for Surgical Goblin and much, much better for SurgicalTS. A very smart use of the tornado there by Surgical Goblin. Here it comes, Dark Prince on Dark Prince crime here in the right lane, and he's gonna go ahead and clean up very nicely on those the Goblin gang behind that other Dark Prince. And so far here, you know, the advantage early on to SurgicalTS, we assume the last two cards by Surgical are a golem and a spell, or a golem and a pump, I imagine. We'll see. Has SurgicalTS been keeping up a pace to which Surgical Goblin has never had the opportunity to use a pump? Or does he not have pump in this deck? Is it a poison? Is it a spell to combo with sorry, just trying to pay attention at the same time. Is it a spell, of course, to combo with that tornado as well? It's weird to see Tornado and Baby Dragon and Dark Prince and a spell in the deck, right? Anyway, here comes a Goblin Barrel. It's going to be responded to by the guards this time. He's going to keep that log, or use the log in the left lane, excuse me. Here it goes, Golem going to get to that tower. There's the log. Going to use it on the Rascals instead. Beautiful decision there to use the guards to block that Goblin Barrel. And now look at this relentless pressure in the right lane from Surgical Goblin. It's a Baby Dragon. It's a Dark Prince. Things were not looking good for Surgical Goblin, but it looks like he's gonna clench it here, guys. Baby Dragon OP, baby. Is that redundant? Baby Dragon OP finishes the game for Surgical Goblin. He got it, guys. 3-1 victory, Surgical Goblin over SurgicalTS. Wow. Did you see that happening, guys? Oh man, we gotta tell these guys GG. Look at 287 spectators. Are you kidding me? Honestly, guys, huge hats off to both of these players. It was, you know, in SurgicalTS 2, he ended the run for Pompeo. So definitely hats off to these guys for coming on the channel. Not a lot of pros. You guys give me a ton of suggestions. I mentioned this in the last video. I would never name names. I would never call anybody out. But a lot of pros say, no thanks. Not looking forward to a lot of pros who want to come on the channel otherwise are not interested in Pro v Pro, because you are putting a little bit of your, not your reputation, because all these players are really good players, right? But not people don't like to lose, right? People don't like to lose. So I just want to give a huge hats off, not only to these two guys, but to every pro who has came on Pro v Pro and contended for the CWA title. So official. It's not really, it's just for fun, but I hope these guys enjoyed it. And hats off again to Surgical Goblin, our new pro to beat. Wow, so SurgicalTS was the pro to beat only for one match. Surgical Goblin came in. Who should he face? Who can take down Surgical Goblin? Let me know in the comments below, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Check out both of these players' stats and profiles on statsroyale.com, a sponsor here on CWA Mobile Gaming, as well as Bren Chong, my old school, long-time YouTube partner. Check out his information as well, guys. You won't regret it. He's doing tournaments and giveaways again on Twitter, so make sure you follow him. Guys, thanks so much for watching all the way till the end. Really appreciate it. Thanks, and as always, take care, guys.